Yeah, tipping is like out of control. I even saw him talking about it on Bussin' with the Boys. Like, you order a Starbucks, you're already way overpaying. As soon as they flip it around for you to pay, it's like, do you want to tip 20%, 25%, 30%? It's like, dude, you're getting me a coffee, I'm tipping you zero. I mean, what is tipping coming to? When you go to 7-Eleven, do you tip? When you go to McDonald's, do you tip? I mean, it's like outrageous. Like, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, like I'm doing something wrong by not
Right.
leaving a tip. But I mean, I'm not giving you a 25% tip on an already, because I'm in a casino Starbucks, everything's already double the price. But
It's more
literally,
than
even
that.
Taylor Lewan on Bussin' with the Boys, who made over 80 million in his career, says the same thing. So before you start calling me cheap, a multi-millionaire agrees.
Yeah, Starbucks, the margins is better than double. The margins on coffee is incredible. It's astronomical. That is really the golden ticket when it comes to, I guess, the restaurant industry, in my opinion. That and alcohol, of course. But yeah, they're already getting incredible margins off their coffee for what they're having you pay for. And then it's like you still have to tip for it when they get paid very well. It's very clear. So I definitely agree. But sadly, it's becoming more normal. And each new generation that comes in, especially when they're in the workforce and they expect it, it's just going to be more normalized. And I think it's going to even go across even more sectors. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
Sorry, y'all don't have to agree with me. I never gave a fuck. I am not tipping you for some shit that is really not even tippable. That never fucking before the last 3 years, would anyone ever have thought about asking for a tip for. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Service providers are one thing. Okay, tattoo artists, cosmetologists, estheticians, hairdressers, makeup artists, whatever. That's one thing.
Right.
Okay, servers, delivery drivers, even like sometimes if I'm ordering takeout or I'm picking up a to-go order, expos, because I've served, I've expoed, I've hosted. I get it, sure. Drive-thru, no. Fuck no. I'm sorry. Ben and Jerry's just for a fucking scoop of ice cream, no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. I'm sorry, y'all don't have to agree with.
Exactly. Yeah, especially like what she said, drive through. And that actually relates to me in particular because I go to the drive through, right? We'll just call it Dunk. And I'm going there. I'm expecting to have a good day. And what do? I'm like, this is a major corporation. And he turns around that tablet. And then they even frame it. This is how they really put it on. They're like, it's going to ask you a question here. I remember I had an exact situation where he turns around. He's like, it's going to ask you a question. Uh, and I really didn't hear him. And I was like, what'd you say? And then he was like, he got bucked. He was like, it's going to ask you a question. And I guess he thought I was trying to buck the tip, but I really didn't hear him. But his reaction, I'm like, a question? I said, bro, let me take my card. I didn't come here to answer no questions. Like, goodness gracious, I'm in the drive thru. And then he was like, oh, all right, I'll be right back with your drink. And see, that's when they get you. He said, I'll be right back with your drink. And I said, whoa, wait, brother, come back. I said, wait, what was that question again? what, he said, he's going to ask a question. Matter of fact, well, is a 5 okay? Will that work? I want that to go directly to you. Because I was like, man, this dude about to skeet in my drink. I can't have that. It's not worth it at that point. Because, man, people is struggling right now. And there is no telling what they'll do just out of malice. So at that point, man, I don't have time for all that. So I just capitulated and I just gave in. And I don't buck it anymore, to be honest. I don't really buck the tipping, but I deep down, like I'm still not broken. Like I still like if we get enough people, I'm gonna join in on the revolt. But in real time, like if you if you single me out and I don't know what you're about to go do behind there with my drink, because that's what they do too. They, especially if there really isn't a long line, they really don't make your drink until you come up there and pay. And I think that's how they extort you with those tips.
Okay, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do again, but it has to be said. Tipping is freaking out of control. So I took my granddaughter to Crystal's the other day, and the girl said, "Oh, you have to answer that question." It
See?
was about
Yep.
tipping. How much tip I was gonna leave. Okay, I put none. No. Okay, you're not a waitress. You're not coming to my table. You're not taking order. You're just taking an order at the register. Somebody else is making it and you're sticking it in a bag. Just my opinion. Went to a restaurant yesterday. Okay, you order up at the counter. Okay?
Mm.
You pick your drinks out of a refrigerator. And then you get a number. And so I'm paying. Not only did it start at a 20% tip, not 15, 20. So I picked 20. We were at a restaurant, or so I thought. So we go find our own table. We sit down. Okay, yes, they brought us our food, but they brought us our food without any sharing plates. You don't even get napkins. You go get your own napkins. You go get your own water. And then, when we were done eating, it says to also clear your table. Well, by this time, I'm
What?
freaking pissed. I left a 20% tip for what? They're clearly not making server wages because they're not servers. I literally wanted to go and get my tip back. That's how pissed off I was,
Don't do
because
that.
for what we paid, the amount of money, that's a restaurant. That requires service that we didn't get. So let me know your thoughts. Am I just greedy,
No.
or is tipping ridiculous?
It's ridiculous. And it's really tough when you really think about the potential it still has to go. Because I think this is absolutely egregious on behalf of the corporations. I think the corporations are doing this on purpose. I think before they used to think in board meetings where they'd be like, "Oh no, if we try to put a tip option, that's going to turn off a lot of business and people may stop coming." And then I think there was one brave corporation that decided to try it first, and then I think the upside far outweighed the risk. And I think they realized their margins went up like crazy, especially when you got the person at the front desk who you just give a little bit of that so that they're incentivized to kind of add some extra pressure with their stare. And I think that then a lot of other corporations adopted that. And I think it's been going ever since. And then once the new workforce came and these kids, they don't have a problem like giving you attitude no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, anything. Anybody can get it really. And so that just adds to it. And I think it's going to progress to the point to where like you're going through the checkout. Because have you noticed a lot of stores really have been moving away from regular checkout with an employee there, and they've been moving more and more to self checkout? I think it's going to get to the point to where if you want to get checked out by an actual person, there's going to be an expectation that like you have to tip for that too, just for them to like bag your groceries and stuff. And then I think they're going to like pay them less, or as inflation continues to rise, they're just going to keep their wages where they are, and they're going to try to buffer that with tips as well and just increase their margins. And it's going to be crazy. So,
So I ordered carryout, and they still gave me a receipt like this. How much are we supposed to tip when you don't eat at the restaurant and you order the food to go?
0. if you order to go and I had to drive to your restaurant, pick it up myself, all you did was put it in cook it and put it in a bag. Cooking it is part of your job of serving food, and putting it in a bag for me to grab it and drive it home. Sorry, you're not a delivery driver. Sorry, you didn't serve me at the restaurant and bring me food and refills. Your tip is 0. Tipping culture has to change in this country, and it has to change fast. Do you agree? Or?
So tipping is just getting out of control. I was just at Starbucks picking up a coffee in the drive-thru, and I get to the front and I'm paying, and he's like, "Oh, I was just gonna ask you a quick question." And we all know what that means. Tipping, fine, but what am I tipping for? If I have to tip for this, like, what's next? Yeah, nurse, looks like we got him back. Hey, Johnny, good to see you. Hey, before we hook you up to the ventilator, it's just gonna ask you a quick question. So tipping is just getting out of control.
I was going to let it play for a little bit. We got to address that. That was funny. Imagine a time, if we get to there, to where before you go into surgery, they're like, hey, before we do this operation, we just want to turn this around preemptively, just in case you don't wake up, for you to tip us. Boy, don't let them put you to sleep and you didn't leave a nice little tip. And you got to, for a surgery, you got to do at least 40%. And because if you don't, you're going to wake up. Because see, when they close you up, you don't know what's going on inside. So that's going to be crazy. But that's funny. But if we go back to that other situation where it was here, I agree. If you go to the checkout or if you go to the front desk or order your food at a restaurant over the phone to come and pick it up, I agree that that's crazy if they try to ask you for a tip. But I like to go off the facts. And so when I saw this receipt,
A receipt like this.
the receipt says a old fashioned on there. So, brother, you sat at the bar and then you let them add that on to your thing. So I get it. It shouldn't be proportional to what you're, I guess, taking out. But I think once you sit down and all that, and you get to enjoy the ambiance, I think that then you're in tip territory at a restaurant that serves drinks. I think that's the expectation. Now, I'm not saying if you're at a coffee shop that should be the expectation, because like I said, they already get nice margins. If you're going to be in there all day though, working, taking up a spot, maybe then I can see the need for a tip. But yeah, I think if you sat at the bar, then you kind of did it to yourself. See, he didn't address that.
Tipping is completely out of control at this point, guys. And this is a dig not on the employees, because I understand that people are struggling in this economy in 2025 with all the crazy inflation. And this is just a dig to the employers. Listen, if you guys don't want to pay your employees enough so that they can survive without having the customers supplement them, you shouldn't really have a business. I understand in regards to things like restaurant workers, waitresses, waiters, those folks understand what they're getting into. But tipping is rampant everywhere now. You can't go to any place and check out without them having to turn the iPad screen around and watch the extremely uncomfortable worker look away because they're so embarrassed to have to eyeball you in the case that they're trying to expect a tip just so that they can afford their rent because the person that owns the business doesn't pay enough. So I really don't know what the solution is in American culture. I just no to all of it. It's not a no to the workers and them being able to have a livable wage. It's a no to the constant ask for things that shouldn't even be tipped. If someone's literally standing at the cash register and ringing me up, they haven't done anything to deserve a tip where I'm going to pay an extra 10, 15, 20% on top of my purchase because the owner won't pay them enough. That's not the worker's fault. The owner is the one that should be paying them that amount of money so that they don't even have to ask for tips. But it's just gotten ridiculous where you can't buy anything anymore without it asking for a tip. And I'm completely over it. Let me know your thoughts.
So true, so true. I'm so glad he made that um, differentiation, and he was able to distinguish between that, because in real time, especially when somebody does something that makes you uncomfortable, it's easy to just come at the first person who is facilitating it. Kind of like in my example, when the dude was about to bust a nut in my drink, when he was about to take it to the back, right? Me and him was kind of like going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like we were at odds with each other. But when you really get down to the root cause, like this gentleman just said, it really comes down to why are they even put in that position? Because yes, they are struggling. I'm not going to lie. And even for them to react like that, that kind of lets you know that they need that. And because they're not getting paid in proportion to inflation or just in proportion to this economy in general as a whole, what it's developed to. I understand that. So I think we really have to come at the corporations because, and it's easy to just say, well, they need to buck the corporations. Yeah, but sometimes corporations gaslight people, and corporations are very good at keeping a boundary to where you don't really feel comfortable going against it, right? They're very good at keeping things in a way to where it pretty much can. Corporations kind of are good, or like the government a little bit, like with some of their tactics that they can use in order to keep you not wanting to really go against the status quo. So I think just in general, that has to be addressed. And there's multiple ways you can come at it. Like he said, or he might not have said it, but sure, the workers can strike or whatever. Or people could just say, we're not going to bring our business there because we don't like how you do business. And you're putting us and the worker in a weird situation. And I think really what's going to happen, I think there's going to be a situation that makes us have to really evaluate this, because sadly, that's the only way things get changed. People started getting checked in the airports when somebody decided to do something crazy at the airport. People start getting their bags checked before they go in the movies when some dude, when the Batman movie was on, decided to go in there and unalive a bunch of people at the movie. And I think, sadly, it's going to be the same thing with the tipping. It's either going to be a worker or it's going to be a customer that's going to crash out over this. And then we're going to have to analyze this, and I'm sure the news stations will definitely run with it, run with the story, just like they do a lot of things. And then I think that's when we'll have to put it under the lens and really assess how things are progressing and whether or not it's ethical.
Tipping culture has gotten out of control, and I need to tell you what just happened to me. Yes, I look crazy. Move past it. I just ordered Chinese food. It is Christmas Day. I ordered Chinese food. Chinese food is the only thing open right now, okay? We just got back from vacation, so I haven't gone to the grocery store. So sue me. I ordered me and my daughter Chinese food. The total was like $14. Keep that in mind, $14. The Chinese food that I always order from is quite literally a fart away from my house, okay? If I fart too loud, they'll fucking hear it. It's that close. The delivery driver gets to my house in 0.2 seconds, because again, it is 0.2 seconds from my house. I realize, oh my God, I don't have cash for the tip, so I'm like scrounging around. The guy's banging at my door, literally police style bang, 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 bang. I'm like, hold on, looking for the money, okay? I only had $2 freaking because I just got back from vacation. I thought I had money in my wallet, and I didn't, so I screwed up. I immediately opened the door and apologized to him and say, I'm so sorry. I thought I had more cash, but this is what I have. It was $2. The total was $14. 20%, I think it was like 15% of the total, like whatever. Keep in mind, he did not cook the food. He did not slaughter this freaking chicken, okay? He looked at me dead ass in my eyes and goes, only $2? The way I wanted to
Oh wow.
snatch the money out of this man's hand and be like, you don't want my $2? Don't
See?
take it, okay? You're welcome. He walked away, when I tell you if looks could kill, I would be 6 feet under. No effing joke. This man was like, gave me the, I felt so disgusting. I was like, oh my God, like, did I do something wrong? Normally, I'm a very handsome tipper, okay? Because, like, I feel for these people, gas is expensive. But here's the thing, I didn't fucking have it. Anyways, long story short, I had to pull a fucking Karen. I was so upset. I called the restaurant and I was like, I will never order from you again. That is absolutely disgusting. I understand that it's Christmas and he's working. Gun to his head? I mean, I didn't make him do this. So here's my question. Tipping culture has gone so effing crazy. Okay, I'm so disgusted. I'm so disgusted.
Didn't I call it? This situation has so much potential to go bad, to go real bad. Because she said he gave her a scowl after she gave him $2. And then he looked back with it too, like, okay. And in this generation, that could have been him sending you a message. And he knows where you live. Listen, man. Is she are you single? Because if there's a man there, then he should have been the one coming to the door in the first place. But if you're not, I hope you have some type of protection, some type of dog. Because see, this is the type of situations that I'm talking about. Then she further escalated the situation by calling the restaurant and possibly getting this dude fired. Because she said she's never going to do business with them again. You think, listen, man, you do that to the wrong person. And I'm not saying she's wrong. But this is just how out of control the tipping thing is getting. Now, in her dynamic, you were supposed to tip. And she did. She did tip. And I think $2 for that. I think that's decent. But see, I'm going to be honest. When we're talking about delivery and all this type of stuff, or at the bar or whatever, let's be real. See, on the tablet, see, that's when you can kind of tip lower than expected, or just tip exactly what you're supposed to. Just press whatever is available on the tablet. See, it's gotten to the point to where giving the right tip is reserved for the situations where it's really not supposed to be a tip anyway. For the situations where you're actually supposed to tip, oh, they expect you to really look out now. They expect you to really put 5 on it, at least. In every situation, you got to give them at least a 5 for the situations where you're actually supposed to tip. It doesn't come down to 12%, 15%, 18%. No, you got to actually give them something. So, and I don't think that's right, but I think that's where it's kind of become, especially if they actually have overhead associated with it. Then they're looking at that $2 like, man, this didn't contribute to nothing. But we're going to leave it there for the day. You can like the video. I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller content creator, we actually get more points per hype. And then also Patreon's linked below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.